Derbyites, it's a couple days till Emmy voting closes, and then Emmy winners are announced in what, about a month or so? A little less than a month, even. Couple weeks. Here with Rob Licuria, and I was going to call you Charlie Dixon, but you're actually Charles Bright.
You look so alike.
And we're going to focus on categories that we have no damn clue what's going to happen with. So we're going to start with comedy, which I think we're pretty confident on. I imagine everybody here has at least Veep and Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jeffrey Tambor as your big three.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
There's no point even talking about it any further. Although you could say Laurie Metcalf has a slight possibility to upset, but other than that, can you think of anyone else? Not really.
I said this after the nominations came out. If anyone could upset Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I'm thinking it's going to be an Emmy veteran, and there's no bigger Emmy veteran in this category than Lily Tomlin. So I would just, not even on strength of episode, but just the fact that she's Lily Tomlin, I would say, but like with Laurie Metcalf, slight possibility, nowhere near a certainty.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially now that it's no longer the ranking system, and it's just purely based on like the SAG. You just vote for one pick, and that's it. I think if all the people that ranked Julia Dreyfus last year's #1 probably gonna do it again, and that's how she won with the lowest vote total. So she could do it. But you're right, Lily Tomlin. I was just at the Performers Emmy celebration with Chris, and she got a big round of applause, and she's part of the committee and everything else, so she potentially could, but I mean, Julia Dreyfus was actually really great this season, so if they watched
and she, even though it doesn't matter anymore, she did submit the best episode.
Yeah.
She did.
So comedy series, Veep appears to be like the complete lock here, but I don't know, like Transparent is still very popular in the industry. I know it's not funny, but just don't you think that a lot of actors and artists think that Transparent is like amazing and might vote for it?
No, I actually think Jeffrey Tambor is not as locked as I would expect because of Transparent's decline in popularity. I mean, it's not as big as it was last year, and this is kind of a discussion that I was having with the other Derbyites the other day at Tom's. Nobody's really talking about it right now. Nobody's even talking about it anymore, and so with Jeffrey Tambor, I think in his category, we could see an upset, maybe like a little. I
was thinking Aziz Ansari, but who?
Yes, thank you,
yeah.
Aziz Ansari.
Yeah, I think I have him in number 2. Yeah, I have him in number 2.
Okay, because that makes a lot of sense to me.
And Anthony Anderson, I think, is one to watch out for too. I think Blackish really made an impression on Emmy voters this year, and I just watched his episode. It's pretty solid. I think he's one to watch out for as well. So,
what about the supportings? Because Alison Janney, she's locked in again, right? It's so boring, but
yeah, but she had a great episode that she submitted.
Yeah, so that was an episode that really blew me away. Actually, part of me is worried that she might be in trouble because it's not as the past 2 years, and again, the episode submissions don't matter as much anymore. But the last 2 years, the episode submissions having great performances and great range. She's also been quite funny in them. I mean, she's been laugh out loud funny in both of those. This one, not so much. This is more along the line of pretty much practically straight drama.
Really? Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but then you look at when Deborah Messing won hers for The Kids Stay Out of the Picture, that was a pretty heavy drama episode, but she did still have those one-liners. And in this one, Alison Janney has some physical comedy with her jogging and everything that she does to take place of her not going back on the drug binge or alcohol binge. So she's got some stuff in there. But I think you're completely right, especially with, as we've mentioned now, I think 3 times under our breath, that the Emmy episodes don't matter as much anymore. I just completed my Emmy voting, and it's so simple for nobody to watch. And I was talking to Rob about this while you were on mute, Charlie. We had I mean, you can go when you go to vote your ballot before you can actually go into the category. It makes you promise that you've at least watched one episode in that category on the viewing platform.
Well, at least there's integrity.
Exactly, and that's it. And so you can click yes and then go right through, or you click no and it takes you to the viewing platform, which I'm sure not many people are going to put no. But I was telling Rob, when I was voting, there were some shows. I mean, I've seen a majority of shows, and I watch as many of the submissions as I can. There's just so many. But like this season of The Americans, I watched season 1 and 2 of The Americans. I wasn't going to go and watch 6 episodes of The Americans when I already knew that. When I already watched Mr. Robot, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones, and all the other programs in there. So I'm curious to see if really why we get all these repeat winners is because people have already designated who they watch, who they like the best. So especially this year when you don't have to rank and you just vote popularity click, it's so much easier.
Does that mean that fatigue is not really an issue? So because we've seen Doris Roberts and others in years past just win over and over and over again, and Alison Janney just keeps winning. There's no fatigue there.
I don't think so. Just because, especially this year, that they added so many hundreds more members to the academy, especially in the acting branch. I think you've got that new blood coming in that has never voted for like a Julia Dreyfus, or they never voted for a Jeffrey Tambor. That now they have the chance to when they weren't able to before. So that could kind of swing some stuff. So I don't think there's fatigue. And if there was fatigue, I mean, Julia Dreyfus, we wouldn't be talking about her winning again and Alison Janney winning again.
So that means there's no one in that category that can really surprise us. I thought maybe you could make an argument for Judith Light or Kate McKinnon, but it looks like Alison Janney. But what about on the actor side? Is that the only comedy performance category on Primetime Emmy night that there could be a shake-up, or is Tony Hale just going to get that again? I don't know. I'm thinking Louis Anderson has a shot. He's in a dress. Everyone knows who he is. He's a very popular stand-up comedian. It's a possibility. I know no one's watching Baskets. Am I just completely out of my mind? Yeah.
A little bit, but not completely. I think that I just want to say just one last thing about comedy supporting actress. I think Niecy Nash has.
That's what I was going to say.
She has her profile has just been going up. She's now regular on the new well-received Match Game on ABC, and that's just raising her profile even more among people who might not know her, or may know the face and the voice, but not the name. I think that Titus Burgess could have been a better player in this category if he had submitted better. He did not submit a very flattering episode. He submitted the one where he's on the piano and reminiscing about show tunes with Carol Kane. He should have submitted the third episode where he does his one-man show about his past life as a geisha called Kimono You Didn't, which is like one of the greatest things I've ever seen. But still, I think Tony Hale's pretty out front, or possibly Matt Walsh. I think it's going to be one of the guys from Veep.
Okay.
I don't think you're crazy on Louis Anderson, but just circle back a little bit more. Niecy Nash, I was going to say the same thing, Charlie. I think maybe she could potentially be the biggest threat there, just because remember last year when there was 8 nominees or 9 in the category, and everybody was like, oh, Niecy Nash is one of those 7 or 8.
Yeah, that wasn't the case.
This year she comes back. She's worked so much. She has so many shows. She's worked with so many people that I would not discount her.
And the show gets in for Laurie Metcalf and lead actress in a comedy as well.
Yeah,
and it's the last time to reward her for the show that you've now nominated her twice for. If you're gonna shake it up, I think she's a great, and she's so nice. She's so incredibly nice to everybody, taking pictures with everybody. She's great. So I would not discount her at all, and I actually have her number 2 behind Alison Janney. But yes, Louis Anderson is who I want to win, and I think he's going to win, and I hope to will him to a win.
Me too.
I don't know. I don't think Tony Hill's going to win again. I don't think any of the Veep guys have this like Alison Janney or Doris Roberts or anything like that type of mojo.
That's right. And Like, that's why you've got to remember, like, who's the woman from Nurse Jackie? I can't believe I've forgotten her
Merritt
name.
Weaver.
Right, we were-
Yeah, surely there'll have to be a Merritt Weaver. Like, there's always those one-off surprises that no one sees coming. We're so complacent. Oh, that's locked. This is locked. That person's locked. But it can't necessarily be the case. And there will be something that will make us all stand up out of our chairs and just go, "Wow, that's a really exciting winner." And it could be something like Louis Anderson. So,
And as much as it may not matter, Louis Anderson's little picture as a nominee,
yeah,
all the publicists submit a picture, it's of him as the mom, as his
Christine,
character. Yeah, it's not of him as just Louis Anderson. So once you see that and you see how transformative that role is, it may entice a few people that just like him already.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob made him cry.
And I made him cry, which is amazing. Yeah, let's not even go there. So should we move over to drama? Because again, that one hurts me because I just think, oh, will it just be repeats?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the only one, the one repeat we won't see. I don't think we'll see Dinklage win again.
Really? Okay. Because,
I think it's going to be Kit Harington.
And that seems to be the consensus. But I mean, Dinklage had a very good episode, didn't he?
Yeah, so did Jonathan Banks last year, and that didn't do jack shit for him.
I know, but Dinklage is popular. Like, he's very popular.
Jonathan Banks is endearing. Don't you dare say anything
seriously,
else.
Let's just be real for 1 second. Dinklage is super popular with the Academy. He won last year. No one saw that coming, really, and he didn't have the greatest episode compared to the others, and he still won against Jonathan Banks, who should have won. Maybe if there's going to be any inertia from him not winning last year, he could win this year, but his episode is not as good. I know episodes don't matter, but I'm just saying. Like,
here's the thing, though. Kit Harington, this plays perfectly for him right now. His character was the one that everyone was talking about last season. Everyone was talking about him last season. And now it's with the show as being more popular than ever. He is up there with it. And it's, considering the way the voting system works now, this is his. I think he's probably one of the, if you can call anything a sure thing, he's probably, in my opinion, the surest thing you have at the moment.
Wow, that'll be the quote for this article.
I'm willing him to lose.
Yeah, I would love to see Kit Harington up there too. I would love to see Jon Snow with an Emmy. And I loved him in that episode, and I loved him in the whole show, apart from when he came back from the dead, which I thought was really dumb. And I'm just
so his whole role you thought was dumb.
Pretty much. But I went with it. You have to suspend disbelief, and I went with it. And then Battle of the Bastards really impressed me, as did the finale. So speaking of the finale, Ralph, what do you think about Kit Harington? I know you have him in first too, right?
I do have him in first. I'm not as sure as Charlie is, but I do have him in first for now. But I also don't think it'd be Dinklage that would probably upset him. I'm not in the race. That is, I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know. Jon Voight.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that Ray Donovan could go home with some Emmys.
I only said that because I can't remember anybody else in that category.
Well, you know what? If
Michael
Jonathan Banks
or
Michael Kelly, Ben Mendelsohn. But
I don't know about Jon Voight because I don't know if anybody at the Emmys is willing to hear Jon Voight scold them about their political beliefs on stage.
Yeah,
that'd be a big thing.
It's surprising that he gets nominated. If Jonathan Banks wins, I might actually cry. So, I mean, I love him, and I love Better Call Saul. So that's certainly a possibility too.
I mean, he could. It could be like a who was it? Jamie Presley from My Name Is Earl. The year that she lost the first year, everybody thought she was going to win potentially, and then comes back the next year, nobody's predicting her, and she wins.
Yeah, and I remember that because her episode was so it wasn't good the second time compared to the first, and she won. I know, it's very interesting that happens a lot.
Episodes mattered that year, though.
They mattered. They don't now. We've said it about 10 times now because we're hedging.
Emmy episodes matter.
Hashtag. I think on the actress side, it's also really difficult because Lena Headey seems like a good choice, but there's 3 Game of Thrones women in that category. And then you've got bloody Dame Maggie Smith on her last possible chance, in Ralph's words, because she's a million years old. And she's not on. Downton's finished, so it's a possibility there.
But they also know she's not going to be there. That has to factor in. That has to a degree, it has to factor in, because I understand like her winning those first 2 times, even though, but you know, especially now knowing she's not going to be there, that's got to factor in on some level for some of these voters.
I hope so, because I'll imagine if we saw Moritini or Constance Zimmer or Maisie Williams win, it would be so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Well, first of all, I have Uzo Aduba on my imaginary ballot winning this. But
no kidding.
And then
I hope she comes back next year. I really do.
Here's the thing. I don't understand this Lena Headey thing. Like, I don't know if it's just a Gold Derby thing or what, because when you've got Maisie Williams in there and you've got Emilia Clarke, who's much more popular, and we're now talking about a pure popular vote, I'm not sure where this Lena Headey stuff is coming from, just because everybody thought she should have won last year for the episode, even though she submitted one where she's not in there until the last 20 minutes, and it's really not even her most of the time. It's just her head. And then, you know, this year her episode was good, but you have Constance Zimmer, who is very well respected, who I think could truly upset here, because people actually really, they know her and they like her, and she's great in the show. I mean, she got nominated for a Lifetime series called Unreal that not many people really knew about, and she's won Critics Awards and everything else leading up to it. So I think she's a possibility. I think Maisie Williams is a possibility.
So
also about Unreal, that got into the writing category out of nowhere. I mean, that one. I mean, Constance Zimmer. I was surprised that they actually went as far to nominate her, but the writing category really blew me away.
Yeah, but the writers are really, really avant-garde compared to the other branches. Is anyone really watching Unreal? Like, Ralph, you were saying, you look at your ballot, you're not watching any episodes, you're picking who you know.
My
Do people watch Unreal? Okay, I'm just saying, like, they're watching Game of Thrones. They're not watching Unreal. So that's what makes me think it's going to be a Game of Thrones person. Lena Headey was really good in the finale. They had a lot of buzz. Emilia Clarke is very popular, and Maisie Williams is probably the strongest actress on the show. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Rob. It was okay to your point. Then, if it is somebody from Game of Thrones, why is it Lena Headey and not Maisie Williams? If when you think about the show, the whole season, when you have voters watching 6 episodes plus a submitted episode, hers was probably the one you remember most.
Yeah.
She was blinded. She was fighting. All this stuff, and all you had was Lena Headey being stoic the whole time and angry, and then she blows up, the whole city in the last episode. And granted, she was great in it. I'm not taking anything away from her, but in terms of a popular vote, I think, and she's a child. I mean, Maisie Williams is a child. That stands out in a group of, adult women.
I think it's possible, and we've got her in 6th at Gold Derby collectively, which I don't think is right. So I think.
But we also have the Americans and Drama Series in 2nd as collective, and that's just.
We're going to talk about that because I think Americans is a possibility too, but I know you don't. But also Moritini, if they actually do watch the episodes, I'm told, I haven't seen it yet. I'm told that she's pretty amazing in that. So I don't know. It's these categories that make me really want to pay attention, because a lot of them are like, they seem to be slam dunks for the various front runners. This one is completely wide open, and that's really cool. So
yeah, what Tom was saying the other day is that we won't really, at this point now, with everything that's changed, we won't really be able to tell on patterns anymore, as what we do for at least 4 or 5 years.
That's right. That's if they keep the system in place.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. What about drama actor? Does anybody? I think Rami Malek's going to win that.
No.
So Kevin Spacey then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is that because of the SAG win, and that just gives there's something that we can hold on to?
It's the most popular, I think. I mean, I know that Mr. Robot has the most passion, but Kevin Spacey just is, he's a 2-time Oscar winner, and in this, it just makes sense.
But why hasn't he ever won before?
Because different voting system.
Well, last year it wasn't.
Oh,
yeah, but last year was the farewell year for
John Hamm.
True.
I mean, everybody knew that was going to win. And I think what you have to do then, Rob, is take your argument for Constance Zimmer and lay it onto Rami Malek.
Yeah, good point. I take your point, but Mr. Robot is a drama series nominated series, and it does have some buzz. Although this second season has been disappointing, and there's been a lot of negative buzz for the show in comparison to last year. But I think Mr. Robot has a bit more exposure to Emmy voters than Unreal. Could you say that's a fair argument? Like, so maybe they might win something on primetime Emmy night. Maybe
that's a fair argument. I'll give you that. Yeah. But I think it might actually pick up writing as opposed to lead actor.
And it should be winning directing, not writing, but it wasn't even nominated over there. It doesn't make any sense. But what about the actresses then? Because that one's a little bit more wide open. I think Kerry Russell, don't shoot me down, but she should have been nominated 20 years ago for Felicity, and whether you like that show or not. And I remember back in the day, that was really a horrible kind of snub that a lot of people were not happy about, kind of like the Sarah Michelle Gellar snub as well. And she's
not even on the same level.
I think they are. I totally think they are. And Kerry Russell is so good on The Americans, whether you like the show or not. She's excellent, and she's got a great episode. Not that it matters. But that category kills me because Tatiana Maslany, Viola Davis, and Robin Wright, even Taraji, and Claire Danes, it's just. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do there. So please, give me your arguments.
Well, I'll let Ralph do the whole why Tatiana is going to win. You're a moron not noticing for that.
Next. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll start by saying if there's one of these categories that you need as a voter to watch, it's got to be this one or something on the level of this, because there are too many great performances in here that could go either way, and you should look at the episodes to see and not just go off of who's most popular. I mean, Robin Wright submitted a great episode for her. Tatiana Maslany, you may think I'm predicting her to win, but I'm not. And part of it's based on her Emmy submission, which is why I think this is a category people should watch and why it may actually matter. Because the mistake I think that she made in her submission, though it's great and she's great as always, is she submitted an episode where it kind of just continues a story arc that if you're going into there and you're not already a fan or not already a viewer, you have zero clue what the hell is going on in the episode. Yeah. So I think that kind of hurts you. Not that every episode needs to be, a beginning, middle, and an end, but there has to be something where a voter can relate, or where they're not just there scratching their heads wondering what's going on. So I don't have her in. I don't have her winning for that. But then Taraji P. Henson submitted an outstanding episode where her son gets shot at an award show that they're attending. And then you see her in the hospital crying, over his not body because he's not dead, but crying over him and her just emotions everywhere. Again, Viola Davis, another tremendous episode where you see the car accident and how her baby died and she miscarried. I mean, there's so much good in here that I think it's a really hard one. I don't have Viola Davis right now winning. I actually have Robin Wright, but. I mean, it really could be any, and I'm not going to argue with Rob. I watched the first couple of seasons of Americans before I kind of left and dropped off on the show, and I thought Kurt Russell was great. She was really good, and I haven't seen this episode mainly because I want to start watching it again. From what I hear, the season was so great, so I don't want to be spoiled at all. But I mean, that's certainly a possibility. I just don't think, again, people are watching that show. It did get nominated, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are actually watching it. I mean, it did take 4 years.
It did. And we shouldn't be fooled by the 5 nominations that the show got. It could just be, maybe we're just being given a red herring, and it just kind of snuck in 5 categories, but it's not as popular as we think because the critics love it, but that's not the TV Academy. Sorry, Charlie. What do you think?
I'm sorry, just red herring in America. I just thought that was a fun.
Yeah, I did that.
Anyhow, this is a tough one, like Ralph said. It really is. I have Robin Wright in first place right now, but I could honestly see any one of these realistically winning, even Claire Danes.
Yeah.
I think Tatiana Maslany, just because of the uniqueness of the role that she plays, of the roles that she plays. It could be a real threat in this one. She's going to be one I'm going to be keeping my eye on. I honestly don't know what to make of it. What to make of it. I do have Robin Wright out head, but again, like if they're talking about episodes, damn, Viola Davis had a really really good one. Even when I'm saying even while I'm watching it and I'm saying I don't care about any of these characters except her. You're just like it's just an emotional gut punch.
So that leaves us with nothing to really hold on to.
Nothing at all. I agree on Tatiana though. I think she has a great shot, but next year is the last year for Orphan Black, so I'm kind of banking on her winning next year and not this year, even though Winona Ryder may be in there, and I'll just be torn as all hell.
Oh, that'd be great. Game of Thrones is going to win drama series. I don't think there's any point arguing that. I really don't think that it could lose just in this new system. So
I think it could, like maybe a 5% chance.
To what? House of Cards?
House of Cards.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've had your argument about the election and all that before. I totally get that, but Game of Thrones is it's more popular now than it's ever been, and it's popular ballot and blah blah blah. But yes, House of Cards, Mr. Robot, the Americans.
Yeah, but a little voter tidbit here. Tom's vote went to Mr. Robot on his ballot. My vote went to House of Cards on my ballot. Not saying that we're all these, there's a lot of HBO employees out there, so I'm sure Game of Thrones is going to win. I'm not saying that we're not, that we're a majority, but there are some people that are giving different stuff. And let's not forget, Downton Abbey keeps winning the SAG in the same kind of system now that the Emmys have. It's its last year. It's never won drama series. So I'm sure, voters that really love the show are aware of that, even though it's kind of taken its punches. Everybody thought they were going to get Jim Carter, who knows where, if he's still coming to the Emmys and as a sit-in or something, or any of the lead actresses. I mean, none of them got in, so it did take kind of a gut punch, but I still wouldn't discount it.
No, okay. And then what about the categories that the OJ series is going to win everything in?
Yeah, it's going to
swing. Everything, right? But Sterling K. Brown v. John Travolta, there's a little possibility there, right, Ralph?
Yeah, I have John Travolta down in 5th. I may have to move him up a couple places.
I'm going to move him up too.
That's crazy. Who do you have in first?
Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah, everybody does, right?
And followed by Plemons, Laurie, and Woodbine.
Laurie would be the only one I would see possibly beating John Travolta.
Yeah.
I think John Travolta's pretty well out front here, because let's take this into
it's like a lot of reaction I heard to his performance was very much mocking it. It was like the makeup and then. In all fairness, yes, Robert Shapiro does look like that, and he is a frightening person. But it's also just this whole. I don't know. It's just like it felt more hammy, where Sterling K. Brown felt like his performance was more substantive.
Which is true, but then you look at what happened with Alison Tolman in Fargo. You had everybody who gave her critical praise. She won critics' awards for it. Everybody thought Alison Tolman, great. And then a hammy performance by an Oscar winner and more popular person, Kathy Bates, came and won that award. And that's where I think John Travolta is an Oscar nominee. He's the most known in this category, and he's the only one that transforms in terms of makeup and prosthetics and everything else in this role or in the category
to a degree, but also with Alison Tolman, remember she was also up against most of us were saying that year we weren't talking about Alison Tolman actually winning. We always were saying we would hope, but we were talking about Julia Roberts for Normal Heart.
I wasn't talking about Julia.
Well, everybody else on this website that has something up here would say, but
yeah, and they lost.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So not much up there.
But Normal Heart's the best example of why the OJ series may not necessarily sweep, because Normal Heart, where everyone thought it was going to win a lot more awards than it did, especially like supporting actor, that was a shocker. And then Sherlock came from nowhere and won lots of things. So The Night Manager could be like that. Everybody look out for Hugh Laurie as a possibility. That could happen.
But also,
I think
You,
Jesse
you
Plemons is one to watch out for too. I
I
mean,
would
he's
love to
someone
see.
who
yeah, I would love that.
anybody who remembers Friday Night Lights will remember him, and
But
also anybody who watched Breaking Bad will remember him as Meth Damon. So it's really just
yeah, he was
really
great.
someone to keep an eye out for.
I loved him in that. And what? Okay, so because we're running out of time, can we? What about the supporting actress side? Because there's no OJ person there, right? I think that's true. I can't remember now. I don't have them all to memory.
There is no OJ person there.
Who do I have in that? I don't even remember who's like out front there. But I'm just flicking through the page to see where he is, and I can't
Gene
find
Smart.
it. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of like a Gene Smart. The Fargo will get their one Emmy there, right? But what about Regina King? She could repeat, and American Crime was not going to win anything else, I don't think.
No,
Well, that's because it's criminally underrepresented in this.
Completely. I mean, we should be seeing Joey Polari and Connor Jessup in that other category, and we're not. But Melissa Leo could win. She wins lots of awards, just where we're not expecting it.
Yeah, but Jean Smart is like an Emmy magnet.
She is, isn't she?
She's the lock. I think she's maybe the lockiest of all locks in all the Emmys this year.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I do want to say, I would love to see Olivia Colman win. She's one of my favorite actresses,
and her. She's great.
She's just so criminally under-recognized here in America. I would be so happy if she won, even though I haven't seen The Night Manager, just because
she's great in it.
She's great in it.
Even though I didn't like that series, I only got through half of it and I just had to stop. But what about actress? Like if Sarah Paulson loses that, it'd be very hard to swallow that kind of bullshit if she doesn't win for that performance. But it's possible because we've all thought on many occasions that she was a lock and then she didn't win.
To be fair, this category, the performances of this category are so good. This is probably the category with the deepest depth to it, and thank God, because that at least there's this abundance of depth when it comes to actresses on television, because Lord knows it's not happening on the silver screen. But
so she may not win then. Like Kirsten Dunst, Lily Taylor for starters,
and Felicity Huffman, who were all fantastic on their shows. And then of course, Audrey McDonald in a world she won a Tony for, and Kerry Washington, who was amazing in Confirmation. This is I think it's a crime to say that Sarah Paulson is such a lock or such a front runner in this category, because it does a disservice to the rest of the amazing performances that are in here.
But remember when Marsha aired, like I could hear it from all the way off from the other side of the planet. I could hear the buzz. Like it was just, there was something about that episode. People will remember. A lot of people loved this show, and I can see that there's probably no chance for anyone else. But for Kirsten Dunst to walk away from this award season with nothing is a bit upsetting, because she was incredible on Fargo. Really. So
she was outstanding. Yeah. She would be my personal vote if I was able to vote. I don't know. I think the Golden Globes should shut down after that Lady Gaga win over Kirsten Dunst. That's just ridiculous. But Sarah Paulson really wants this Emmy this year, and FX really wants her to win it. They held a Marcia Clark and Sarah Paulson in Q&A with that was moderated by Ryan Murphy the day that Emmy voting started on that Monday at Fox Studio. And so anybody who saw that, I think everybody that attended there was pretty much going to vote for her. And I would love to see her win the Emmy, though my personal preference is Kirsten Dunst for her work in Fargo, especially Lop Lop, which I thought was probably the best female performance of the year. But I would really, really look out for, if anybody can upset, is Lily Taylor. Because I think she's a highly respected veteran actress, just like we saw Regina King win last year. It's almost the same kind of parallel there, because they've worked with everybody. Everybody really respects their work. They've never won a major award before. This would be her first time, and she was great in America. I mean, she's just so good in the show that I think she has a potential chance. But I think Sarah Paulson has this wrapped up finally.
Yeah, finally. And what about on the male side? Sorry, Charlie, do you have something else?
I was just going to say, and also she's not hampered down by genre in this one.
True. Yeah. That's a very good point.
The only time she was up for anything other than American Horror Story was her first nomination, when she was up for Game Change, and she wasn't as well known. and she lost to Jessica Lange for American Horror Story.
Yeah. So on the male side, it seems Courtney B. Vance is pretty much in the same boat. He really was the star of that series. Bryan Cranston could do it, but doesn't he have enough Emmys? Like that would be my view if I was an Emmy voter. I think he's
And
got
if
enough
All the
Emmy
Way
votes.
wins Best Movie, he's taking home another one as a producer.
Yeah, yeah, and that could happen. Could we? I mean, unless you have something to add on the actor side, the movie category is nowhere near as strong as the limited series category. What's going to be in the movie category?
Movie category, I got All the Way winning.
Yeah. Does that seem like a smart pick? Really, I can't think of anything else that could upset it.
Nothing else.
Yeah, and then I mean Sherlock could do it. It wins things from time to time where no one can see it coming. But yeah, confirmation as well. And on the limited series side, that is an absolute. There's no even point talking about it. I think really, it's
Okay.
OJ. But yeah. So then moving over to reality, Charlie and I watch a lot of reality. Sorry, not reality. Scratch that. I don't care about reality. Variety. Don't care about reality. I'm sorry. We watch a lot of variety, and we have our own opinions. Ralph doesn't really watch a lot of variety, and so you actually did watch some episodes to get an idea of what to vote for in the variety talk category. So talk us through, pun intended, what you thought of that.
It was painful.
Okay.
But I went with James Corden just because he was the most charming and probably the funniest and the one that I think kind of connected most with his interviews, and I love Carpool Karaoke. I think it's so much fun watching those whenever I see a new one posted online. So with him, I'm not really big on the Daily Show or these political talk variety shows. So those, just my bias, I automatically just would not vote for any of them, regardless of anything else. Probably wouldn't even watch that. Didn't watch like the John Oliver episode. Didn't watch that because it's just not my thing. I get enough of that watching CNN or something else when I'm watching television.
Oh, so you're the one who's still watching CNN.
That's
I said CNN, not MSNBC.
Yeah, come on.
And just because you watch Fox News doesn't mean you have to rip on CNN.
Just because you want to make America great again.
But they're the only ones that are fair and balanced.
That's right. But I think the very good point here is, and I must remember it because I watch it with other people that aren't as political as I am, and especially Charlie, you're even more political. A lot of people are not that political and don't give a shit about politics, and so they're not going to care that much about Last Week Tonight. We all think Last Week Tonight's the lock here. It's not. And I think, Charlie, you were saying before we were recording that Jimmy Fallon is probably the most affable, likable, and popular. So it's possible that even he could win. I want to see real time win. That's never going to happen.
I'd love to see Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is actually and they submitted the one with President Obama.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that win. That wouldn't be a bad choice.
So yeah, that one's up in the air, I think. We don't have this Daily Show, Colbert juggernaut anymore. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen there. And on the sketch side, it seems like it's inside Amy Schumer or Key and Peele.
I voted for Key and Peele.
Oh, okay, cool.
I would love to see Drunk History win this, just because of how different it would be.
Yeah.
They really had their had a brilliant year this year with the Harriet Tubman bit going viral with Octavia Spencer. It's such a brilliant piece of satire. It's just so wonderful.
Well, we never know, but it just seems that Schumer has the most buzz, I guess, and that's what we have to pay attention to. But I hear where you're coming from.
But Key and Peele has its final season. This was its final season, so this is their last chance.
That'd be really cool.
And that would be awesome to see them reward that.
Does it have a writing? It does. So on the writing side, I would just love to see Samantha Bee and her team win that. Really, really, really would like to see that. But that one's really wide open as well, and I just can't remember who's on the directing side. Oh, here we go. There's no Key and Peele there, so that could be Schumer again, or maybe Saturday Night Live, or something along those lines. So
directing, I think Saturday Night Live is probably a safe bet since it's a live show and it's 90 minutes and they know that about that. So I think that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah, and just very briefly on the variety special side, I think like Amy Schumer could be winning again on the writing side. I hope Grease Live wins for directing. I thought that was a really well done live, spectacular, and I want it to win something. It could win special class program, and I think in the variety special, it could be Adele. I think I'm predicting Adele at the moment.
I'm
I don't
predicting
know.
Lemonade because
Oh, okay.
I would be crucified by many of my gay friends if I did not pick anything other than Her Majesty Beyonce.
Beyonce.
So
Ralph, did you vote in
yeah,
those?
Yeah, on this one I voted for. Oh, I voted for Carpool Karaoke.
Okay, which is great. It's such a funny, wonderful thing to watch on YouTube when there's nothing else to do. So
And
okay,
here's the viewing platform if you can see it. That's how
yeah, oh, cool.
we look at our stuff and all the categories are
Yeah,
there, and that's how I watched all of my shows.
excellent. So I mean,
such
it's
things
pretty
they have.
accessible. Yeah, these new things that they have.
On
What haven't we covered? I don't think.
variety special writing, I would love to see Patton Oswalt win.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too. Oh, yeah. I think I'm
after
predicting him
the year
actually.
that he's had,
Yeah,
it would be wonderful to see him win. Just
that's a possibility,
that's a great show sign that Hollywood has his back, as he's been so great in so many things that Hollywood has produced.
I think those categories are on the primetime Emmys
They are
this
this
year,
year.
which would be wonderful. So we're going to see maybe Tony winning, forgotten his name, director win for Grease Live, and we might even see Patton Oswalt up there, which would be a really great moment. And he could actually win this. It's a very interesting category there. There's a lot of really cool stand-up comedians like Tig Notaro and John Mulaney and Inside Amy Schumer, and then you've got the Triumph election special. I don't think that has a chance. So,
It could be the one thing that's different in all of
sure.
this. So I
Yeah.
would say watch out for it. Plus,
Speaking of different and interesting tidbit, on the reality host,
Yeah.
you know that the only peer group that votes for that are casting directors. It's not under performers. Casting directors vote
Wow.
for that award,
really,
which I thought was
Crazy.
really crazy.
It is
Yeah,
crazy.
because I thought
So,
RuPaul had a chance potentially to win, but now that I know it's casting directors, I'm not sure if Jane Lynch just doesn't win again.
yeah, I'm thinking Steve Harvey, but yeah, that's a very
I would
interesting. I did not know
I
that.
would love for RuPaul to win this. That would be so
It would be funny.
different and crazy and all sorts of wonderful.
Yeah. Reality competition program. Okay, just very briefly, The Voice, and although I want to see American Ninja Warrior win that because I don't even know what that is. I kind of do, but
What?
I do. Yeah, I do. It's pretty cool. We didn't talk about the writing categories in comedy and drama. Very briefly, what do you think? Like, I think in drama, could just be Game of Thrones again. I want to see the Americans win that writing category, but I doubt that will happen. Any thoughts?
I have Mr.
Let me-
Robot in writing for drama.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have Game of Thrones for writing and directing for Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, me too. Although Mr. Robot could win that writing, it could just be that one thing they give. Can you imagine if The Good Wife did it? Like, I mean, it's not completely
I
out of the
will
realm of
break my
possibility.
television if it wins.
Finally
I
wins a
will
writing.
shoot my
Emmy, and it's for
television
that.
if it wins.
Yeah. And on
I
the
don't know.
comedy side-
I'm not sure how receptive writers are to such little dialogue, especially
Yeah.
in the Bastards episode. I mean, the last one I think that had such little dialogue was when Joss Whedon was nominated for Hush and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that was a great script with very little dialogue, if not no dialogue.
Yeah.
And that didn't win. So I think, like Rob, like you said, Mr. Robot, it's got to win somewhere, and it was so well received this year. I think if it's going to win somewhere, it's going to win here.
Could win that. And then what about on the comedy side? Because I know this is completely a long shot, but if Catastrophe could actually win that writing Emmy, I would be completely over the moon. It's so well written, but obviously Veep is the strong choice. Veep and Silicon Valley, though, they have 2 each, and that could be a problem if you didn't all vote for Mother, the episode called Mother for Veep, and that's a possibility. So maybe it could be even Master of None. That's a category that I think is more open than people realize. What do you guys think?
I think so, but I think Mother probably stands out among the fray.
Yeah. And directing is the same, Mother, although I think that's where Transparent could take home the Emmy again.
Actually, I have Kissing Your Sister as the
Oh,
directing
really?
winner there.
The fake documentary. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, since I found that to be so well put together,
Yeah.
and that episode for me was probably my personal favorite of the
Oh,
season.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought Mother was the best one.
I thought that was so brilliant, and how we find out, like it revisits everything from the season and makes us completely aware that everything that we think only certain people know about, more people know about than we think.
Yeah.
Like especially her being in the closet the whole time that Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Hugh Laurie are having sex. I
pretty ghastly.
lost my shit at that one. That was
again, there's a category with 2 Silicon Valleys and 2 Veeps. So
three.
Three exactly. 3. Sorry. Yeah. So Transparent. Whether you think that it's a big buzz show or not, it still did very well this year in the Emmys, and Melora Hardin could take home an Emmy, for example. It could win here, so let's not all get too excited.
Silicon Valley is the second most nominated comedy series of the
year. Yeah, that's true as well. So that's why there's a lot to have to factor in here. It's very hard.
And it'd be nice to see Mike Judge win something out of animation.
It would be very cool. I think we've covered all of them. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we've got everything good. So
we solved the Emmys.
Yeah, I don't know if we gave any insight into anything at all, but it was nice finally doing a Slugfest, and we'll come and probably do another one after voting closes. So stay tuned.